After my very mediocre demonstration of how the Boss RE-2 Space Echo worked, I thought I would go for a bit of an in-depth explanation of how this machine actually works, because I couldn't find anything about that on the internet really, and I had to piece together lots of different bits of information. So I thought it would first be important to have a quick look at how tape delays actually work. So I've got my trusty whiteboard and my whiteboard pen, and I'm going to do a quick sketch. So I want you to imagine that there are only three in this version, because this is a simplified version, only three heads in this tape machine. Okay, this one is I'm going to put it as an X. That's our erase head. Erase. This one I'm going to put a little circle for recording. And this one I'm going to put a triangle for play. Okay. So essentially what happens is the tape, this is a top-down view, the tape runs down and it runs across the erase head, runs past the record head, runs past the play head, and goes back into the machine. Well, each end of that piece of tape there, instead of going around a reel on one end and a reel on the other, those pieces of tape are actually connected to each other, so it is a loop. Now this is motorized and it's fed through past these playheads. There are some tensioners and various other bits of machinery in there, but I'm not going to put them in just for simplification's sake. So this is the direction of the tape. It's moving this way. And what happens then is you send a sound, an audio signal, to the record head. And the record head, through electromagnetism, writes onto the magnetic tape an audio signal. Okay, that's that thicker black line that I've put there. Now that audio signal, it moves down towards the playhead, gets to the playhead, and sure enough, the playhead picks up that magnetic writing on the tape and it plays it back through your speakers. But the time taken from writing the sound to playing it back, that is your delay time. So you're sending some of your signal to here and some of it's coming back this way. Now, here's for the cool bit. When that signal is coming back, some of it is going to your speakers, or maybe all of it is, and you can actually choose how much goes to your speakers or how much goes to whatever your playback device is. But you can also choose to send some or all of that signal back into the record head. Okay, and you've guessed it, that's what that is feedback. Okay, that's your feedback. Now you can choose between sending 0% and 100% of that signal back round and into the record head. But on some machines, namely the Space Echo, the RE-2 by Boss, but also on the original analog tape machines that this emulates, you could actually send more than 100% of the signal back into the record head. And that's when you get that sort of runaway delay sound that keeps compounding and getting louder and louder and louder. Okay, can also blow your ears up. So it's not the best thing to do. Okay, I'm going to put a little plus there, 100% plus. Okay, because that's your feedback. Okay, that's that runaway sort of delay sound. And you probably will hear that in old dub reggae tunes, and occasionally as an effect in dance music. So yeah, it's just a cool thing to know how to do. And you can do that, you can actually emulate that in DAWs such as Ableton. Ableton's actually very good for it. It's quite easy to set up there. But obviously when your feedback goes more than 100%, you end up with that massive signal. You've got to be very, very careful because it compounds the sound that's going around that loop. The feedback just increases and increases, and it just overloads everything. So now that we know that we've got the record head there, we've got the play head there, we've got a bit of feedback, well, what happens when that sound, it carries on moving its way around the tape? Does it just keep going? Well, it does, yeah. It keeps going all the way around until it gets to the erase head. When it gets to the erase head, there's a signal there which essentially wipes the tape. So there's no more signal coming here. This is a blank tape before it hits the record again. But on some machines, you can actually disengage that erase head. Okay, you can move it away from the tape so that those sounds will come round, and if there's still an input coming in, or if there's still an input coming in through the record, it will layer up on top of those sounds, and it will just keep layering. Okay, layered loops. Okay, which can make a big sort of washing sound. So then I suppose I had better switch over to this view. I'm sorry if it looks really complicated. And I thought I would show you then how this how the Space Echo works, and explain what I've got going on here. So I don't really need the whiteboard anymore. I'm going to wipe that off, pop that down underneath my desk. Okay, and I'm just going to move these machines down here a little bit so they're a bit easier to see. Adjust my lamp so that you can see the what's going on the screen there a little bit of my zoom pedal. So what I've got here is the Roland J-6. It's got various different presets on it. It models a few Roland synths. I'm assuming the Juno synths, Juno 6, and various other things. So it's got some sort of preset sounds on there. You can create your own chords as well, and just make some nice like chord progressions on it. I bought it a few years ago, and it's been pretty cool. It's been good for making sort of arpeggiated patterns and chord progressions and things. It's quite a nice little bit of kit. The only downside to this is that it doesn't actually have a metronome on it. So that actually makes it really difficult then to sync with the RE-2, because if you press the pedal and hold it, it enters a mode where you can then sync the echoes with the speed of whatever is playing back. So you'd have to draw a metronome from another piece of hardware that was maybe synced with this via MIDI. Okay, the Space Echo, the RE-2 pedal, doesn't have MIDI clock input. It doesn't have a MIDI DIN plug, so you can't plug your MIDI DIN cables into it. Okay, you have to sync those echoes manually with this piece of kit, and that's okay. And sometimes actually it's quite difficult to sync, but you can use the repeat rate knob to manually sync things, or you can tap it to sync your echoes. So what I've got going on here then, this is just a Zoom multi-stomp pedal. It's a multi-effects pedal. It's essentially lots of different pedals all in one box, and you can stack them up on top of each other. So I've just got a couple of sets of chorus there to make the sound of this J6 nice and wide. There's lots of other things this can do. It can do like compression, reverb, delay, various other effects, bit crushing and things like that. It's also possible, I believe, to I would say hack these pedals, and you can add lots more effects to them. You'd have to dig around on the internet to find out how to do that. Okay, so so then what I'm going to do with the Space Echo is I'm actually going to turn the mode selector knob, which is the one on the right hand side, to 1. Now you might want to look up here. Oh, hang on, here we go. Let's get the old pen out. Up here at the top of the screen, I've got part of the manual up here. This is actually really difficult to point to. Okay, and this tells you what each of those modes do. So I've got it selected to 1, and that's going to use playback head 1. Okay, now you can notice that there are actually 3 playback heads there, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, in the original pedals, maybe I do need my whiteboard back. In the original pedals, there were 5 heads arranged. Sorry, they're not original pedals. What am I talking about? In the original Space Echo machines, in the delay units, there was 5 playheads. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so going back to what I was saying before, the first one is the erase head, second one is your record head, and then you've got 1, 2, and 3. I just realised I've missed a completely essential thing here. So the tape runs through, it goes past the erase head, goes to the record head, and then it goes past 1, 2, and 3, and off up to here. You can select which one of those or combination of those playheads that the pedal is actually going to use. So if you notice the distance between the record head here and the play head here, okay, it's a relatively short, let's call that short distance. Then the distance between the the record head and 2 is a medium distance, and then the distance between playhead 3 and record is a long distance. Okay, so this denotes the length of time that there is between sending a sound in to the tape echo and getting it back. So obviously the long delay, playback head 3 is going to pick up the sound from the recording. So the longer the distance between here and here, the longer the time is between recording the sound and playing it back. Okay, so it gets a little bit more complicated again. Well, I can almost hear you thinking, well, hang on, what about the feedback then? Well, actually, what happens is all of the playback heads here are all mixed into one signal. And when you turn up the feedback knob, it just feeds all of those back into the record head. Okay. But then, hang on a minute. I thought the Roland Space Echo RE-201 had adjustable delay time. Well, yes, it does. Okay, and when you turn the repeat rate, what it does is essentially moves all of those playheads. So the record head stays where it is, but I think that the playheads all move slightly apart. Okay, they get further apart incrementally. Okay, I hope that explanation clears up a few things. Now you know how a tape echo works. Okay, I've been recording for 15 minutes now. That's an awfully long time. Let's get round to a bit of a demonstration. Turn the visualizer off and I'll go around to here. So now it should make a little bit more sense when we look at this cropped area of the manual. You've got playhead 1, playback head 1. Let me see if I can point to it with my pen again. Hang on, here we go. That's surprisingly difficult to do this. Right, okay. So playback head 1, when you've got it selected, mode select 1, you've got playback head 1 engaged. 2, playback head 2, 3, playback head 3, 4, playback head 2 and 3. Playback head, mode 5, you've got playback head 1 and the reverb on the pedal. Yeah, 2 and the reverb, 3 and the reverb. Okay. So 8 is 1, 2 and the reverb. 9 is 2, 3 and the reverb. 10 is 1, 3 and the reverb, and 11 is 1, 2, 3 and the reverb. So I can just go through those quickly and give you a good idea of what that sounds like. Thankfully, this little machine is now charged up, so I can take the USB cable out of there. Okay, because that was giving me a little bit of feedback earlier and it sounded a bit annoying. It's a bit of a USB ground loop thing going on. I can put my headphones on, so I haven't got my speakers on. And let's turn this pedal down. So I'm going to turn my echo right down. I'm going to turn my reverb right down. Turn the intensity down. I'll leave the tone about somewhere in the middle. The wow and flutter on this pedal, that essentially means how well the machine is working. So inside this Boss RE-2 Space Echo, this is like a condensed version of one of those analog tape units, but it is a digital emulation. Okay, it is not an analog machine. It is a digital emulation. It's a very good digital emulation though. And let's have a quick go with this then. Okay, so I'm going to press play on here. I need to turn that on. Okay, that's a little bit loud. Now let me see if I can get this in time. Okay, it's probably not in time, but let's try it out anyway. And I'm going to cycle through all the different modes. Okay, if you enjoyed that, make sure you like and subscribe. That will really help me out and gives me a little bit of encouragement to carry on doing things like this. Proper nerdy, in-depth explanations of audio equipment. But I really hope that this actually can be transferred into not only just hardware, but this knowledge, but also now that you have got a good understanding of how tape delay works, you could go into Ableton and set that up for yourself. There are lots of tutorials showing you how to how to make feedback loops and things in Ableton. Just make sure you stick a limiter on it. You don't want to blow your ears out. And yeah, best thing to do is to use a set of speakers on a very, very low volume, and make sure you've got a nice limiter set fairly low. Okay, thanks very much for watching. If you've managed to watch this far, you've done really well. Hopefully I'll be making some more videos like this in the future.